What is up, Anoki? Happy Wednesday. I hope everything's going well. This is pretty straightforward, honestly, but there is some important things to know when you go about creating it. So I figured I'd turn it into like a short little info thing here. So, is there a sweet spot for the number of emails in a nurture sequence and also the time interval between each email in the sequence? Um, so, first things first, I would just make sure that every email in the welcome sequence or in the nurture sequence has a very specific and clear reason of being there. Like, we don't want to just put an email into a nurture sequence or a welcome sequence just because we want it there. Like, we want to get to 4 emails in the welcome sequence or the nurture sequence. Like, everything should have a clear purpose and everything should have a very specific reason of being there. Like, this is going to go out to your audience and we don't really want to waste their time in terms of like, okay, every email we send has to have a clear purpose and we want them to get value from it or have a reason for it to be there. So I would just keep that into mind, number one. And then I kind of gave you a little bit of an outline here. So opt-in's they're gonna come in through the lead magnet here. Email one's gonna be delivered right away. For you, I'm not sure what that would specifically look like with the quiz, because if they're filling out, maybe it would be the results for you because they're doing the diagnostics. So they enter their email at the end of the quiz, they put their stuff in, and then they get their results delivered right at email one as soon as they enter their contact information. And then again, email 2, email 3, and email 4, we talked about yesterday with you, Anoki, was the talking about the specific misalignment. So there's 6 different patterns, right? So that would be a really good reason to have these 3 emails in email 2, email 3, email 4. Like, each email is talking about one of the specific patterns that they need help or they need to focus on. So when it comes to so overall, those are really good, clear reasons, and I would probably leave it like right at 4. Like, maybe in the 4th email, you can just talk about, you can put something at the end that says like, you'll now be entered into my email list where I'll be talking about this more in depth every single week on this specific day. If you're going to do it weekly, or if you're going to do 2 to 3 times a week, you don't have to send a specific day. But when it comes to timing, email 1, you definitely want to do right away. Email 2, I think it depends on the content. Like, if this is something they're really going to benefit from, and like the second they read it, they can almost implement it and think about it, I would do closer to the 2-hour side. If it's just more of like a information, more of a talking about you, no really specific things they can implement right away, then I would do closer to the 1 day. And then email 3, I would do 1 day. And then email 4, I would also do 1 day. But you can really play around with it. There's no like specific right answer when it comes to spreading it out. I think it's not really going to specifically matter for you right now, Anoki, but for anyone else who may be watching this, another thing that's important to keep in mind is like, if you get to the point to where you're sending, 3 to 4 emails per week and people are coming in on your lead magnet, you now have 3 to 4 emails going out per week. And then they're also getting entered into this welcome or nurture sequence right when they join. So that could look like, for them, maybe you have a normal email like completely separate from the lead magnet going out on Monday, and then you have another one on Tuesday, and then you have one on Thursday, and then you have one on Sunday. That's 4 emails going out to them that week, and then they're also going to be having this at the same time. So you want to make sure within the email marketing platform that there's some type of tag set up. Well, this is what I like to do. You could still send them and put them in the lead magnet, like enter them, but then they just be getting, maybe they get email 1, 5 minutes after you just happen to send out another email to your list on that Monday. And then, they're getting 2 emails like right back to back to each other. What I like to do when it comes to a client's email list is you set up a tag when somebody comes into the welcome sequence specifically for the lead magnet, and I'll literally call the tag in email welcome sequence, and that'll trigger the second they enter their contact info, and it'll go away. So it'll auto tag right when they enter their info, and then it'll untag when that 4th email comes up. So that way I know that that person, that contact, isn't going to be in this specific welcome sequence, and I can start sending emails in real time. I'm going to prioritize the emails that are going out 3 to 4 times per week, and they're not going to get those scattered on top of the welcome email sequence that is going on in the background. So just to make it a little more of a smoother process for them, and they're not getting all these emails right at the same time, or 3 emails in one day, or whatever that specifically looks like. So that's something you can do as well. And yeah, so that's what I would specifically recommend for your situation, Inoki. And yeah, I think just overall important to remember every single email has to have like a clear purpose or specific reason of like being in the welcome sequence. You want to make sure people are getting used to seeing your name pop up on the email and just being excited to read that and, know what it's about, and just get more information from you. And then also to keep in mind, like when it comes, I think 4 emails can be fine for you, but these emails that you're sending out in real time, like maybe you're talking about a current event that's going on, are always going to be more valuable than a welcome email sequence that you just write once and plug people into, because these are going to be a lot more connecting because you're writing it the day before and sending out the next day, where this you maybe wrote, you're writing it right now, but for somebody who opts in 6 months later, they're not gonna, it's almost like a disconnect in time a little bit. Like you don't have the relevance of talking about current events. You can't connect to them as closely as you would be able to with the emails that you're sending out every single week and sharing what's going on in your life for current events and whatever that looks like. So that's important to keep in mind as well. Like I've seen clients email welcome sequence go all the way to like 65 days, and then they get entered into this. And I'm just like, if we could just make it, 3 or 4 emails, it would have been so much more valuable to send out real-time emails instead. So, all right, hope this helps. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a tangent, but some good info in there.